Hello everybody, this is Chaos with Chaos Esports Productions, bringing you another Bronze Masters League Series game. Today we're going to be looking at a PvP here in the brand new season on this wonderful map. Unfortunately, I do not have the map title like I normally do with my other UI, but nonetheless, we will continue on going forward. Today we are going to be talking about early game opportunities in Protoss versus Protoss. Now, I do want to put a small disclaimer at the beginning of this video just because going for these type of strategies can be very risky if you don't know what you're doing, and can actually lead to some pretty bad losses if scouted and identified early enough by your opponent. So I don't 100% recommend these all of the time. These are kind of the once in a while, you get that feeling that I want to play a short game and see how it goes. And go from there. Also, I had some pretty awful mix-ups here at the beginning. As you can see, probe production has stopped for a little while. I'm doing some scouting. I'm still not building probes. My minerals are getting high, and things are just wasn't going very well this game. But nonetheless, we will go ahead and continue. Basically, I wanted to first make one comment. All of my shows will now have show notes. Down in the description, under the first two lines, there will be a link for show notes. Feel free to go check those out. I have a little bit more discussion about the video, as well as build orders and things like that. Just so, if you have any other questions about things that go on within the game, might be interested in taking a look, that is all down in the show notes down below. So, feel free to go check that out. Now, PvP, I'm going with a pretty standard opening, going for the one assimilator, straight into the cybernetics core, doing a little bit of scouting over my opponent's base. And quite honestly, with this scout, I really don't see anything too terribly interesting. I noticed that my cybernetics core actually came down just a smidgen earlier than his did, which I found quite odd just because I had a pretty fumbled beginning. I went ahead and left my probe in the back of his base just to keep him on his toes, make him pull another probe, small little edges. And then behind this, I go ahead, get my cybernetics core up, and start putting on some heat. So sometimes I like to play a two-gate pressure style. Basically what that means is you chrono boost out your first stalker, and then hopefully, if I recall, if you time it out just right, both of your gateways, your second gateway will finish at the same time that your first stalker comes out, and then you can build two more stalkers behind it, and then immediately go into kind of this 5-stalker rush type scenario where you've got 5 stalkers walking across the map to your opponent, and obviously depending on what your opponent's done, it can either A, just insta-kill, or B, at least apply a little pressure, maybe get a couple of probe kills, things like that, and so forth. So I went ahead and left my probe back in the back of this base because, quite honestly, when I looked at this map, the one thing that I did notice is that it's really like super wide here in the natural. I mean, your opponent, if you look at his vision, he can't really see anything out here. Had I put the pylon down here, he still wouldn't have been able to see it. And in general, he just, there's a lot of space that you have to account for. So poke in here with my first stalker, second stalker's on the way, and third stalker should be popping out here shortly, as well as my warp gate research being done. Almost done. Once that completes, I'm going to immediately turn these guys into warp gates. As you do see, I am expanding behind this. I'm not simply just going for this cheesy all-in. I actually go ahead and pick off his first stalker, which is a nice little win. And then my opponent just pretty much plays super passively. Now, I was really surprised that he kept building stalkers and did not even bother to get out any sentries. Sentries are kind of the key unit to hold this ramp if your opponent does something like this. So, it's very, very key that you get in here and try to get as much damage done as possible. So, now with my 5 stalkers here at his base, I'm going to go ahead and focus down that mothership core, which is still a fair amount of ways away from that photon overcharge. But I can pretty much just move into his main at this point, just because he has slacked so much on units. Now he does get a little bit ragey here at the end and is wondering why I'm cheesing in a non-ranked map, but unfortunately for those people playing unranked, ranked games, ranked and unranked people get matched up with each other. So, a little bit disappointing for him that this was, kind of a practice match for him, but nonetheless, the strategy proves to be relatively effective, and you can see that it clearly won. It wasn't necessarily cheap by any manner, just because had the mothership core been able to get a photon overcharge on the main, I probably would have instantly backed out and then continued on going into the late game. Basically, I would have gotten my robotics facility and things like that and moved toward those later stages. So this is kind of one of those examples where, if you see the opportunity, you can actually take advantage of the early game just simply by getting out a handful of units really quickly and just getting a feel for what your opponent has, and then making the judgment call of, okay, do I continue on pressuring this, or do I go ahead and fall back? So that is all I wanted to say about the game. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to go ahead and leave any comments down in the comment section below if you've got any questions. Like I said, all of the detailed build order show notes up to the 8-minute mark will be there. Also, I'll probably have a little bit more discussion as far as cheesing versus early game pressure in the show notes as well. Just a little bit more in-depth description there. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't already and enjoyed the video, feel free to go ahead and hit that subscribe button down in the lower left hand corner. It's greatly appreciated. Approaching 1,000 subscribers, so I'm super excited that pretty much it's almost been about a year since I started this, that my subscriber base has gotten that big. So I want to say thank you to everybody who has been following me here on YouTube. I greatly appreciate it. Also, feel free, if you enjoy the video, go ahead and hit that like button, and if your friends are trying to improve on their Protoss skills, go ahead and share with your friends on Facebook and Twitter. I think that's all I've got, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next game.